Okay, these, I just think we need help with these. So I'm going to take out what I can. I'm going to try and instruct you as to how to do so. The top term here, you can take a 10 out. You can also take an x. There's a 10x, leaving us with an x minus 2. Good. And then here I can take out a 40x squared. There's the smallest thing that goes into both. That leaves me with an x minus, of all things, 2. Oh yeah. Do it. Now does 16 go into 80? Well, yes, it does, actually. So 16x squared, x plus 5. Take out a 6, x plus 5. Okay. Those cancel. I've got an x squared that cancels with that x squared. I've got a 10 and a 40 that reduce to give me a 1 over 4. I got 4 that goes into 16 that leaves me with 4. A lot of stuff's canceled. I'm left with basically a 4 over a 6, which reduces to be 2/3. Okay. Now we look at this one. Don't forget, divided by means multiplied by the reciprocal. And what I can do is flip that up and flip this down. What I'm going to suggest is, before you factor this one, which is the hardest, this is easier to factor. That's a 2x plus 3 and a 2x minus 3. Pardon that. These are perfect squares, difference of two perfect squares, factor to conjugates. Okay, this one here, easier to factor. It's an x and it's an x. It's a plus 3, it's a minus 1 if I do a diamond problem. Two numbers that multiply to get that, add together to get that. I start reducing, I can cancel this guy with that, and nothing else really. But if I'm looking at this one up here, that 2x squared and that 3 could potentially go into this thing. So if I say, what if one of my factors was 2x plus 3? Then what would this other factor have to be if I'm looking at this guy right here? Well, 2x times what is 2x squared? Got to be an x if it's the right factor. And 3 times what gives me a negative 3? Well, it'd have to be a minus 1. I can do a quick check. The outer and the inner is going to give me a 3x and a minus 2x. That gives me a positive 1x. So it's a quick way of going about it without having to factor. The nice thing about that is we already knew this goes into that. That's how we got that thing to begin with. You look at this, goes into that. Now in theory we have an x plus 3 as our final answer, but if you don't acknowledge that it's on the bottom, it's not right. The only way of showing that it's on the bottom is to make sure you put a 1 on top, and we're good to go.